I'm 2 for 2 in my last 2 weeks on the dog of the week. And ain't nobody showing the boy no love. South Carolina over Clemson, and then Georgia over Texas.
By the way, Georgia over Texas in Atlanta. That's not an upset in this guy's book.
They were the underdog. If you bet Georgia, you won money. And send me some tequila.
Light it.
We'll get Coach dancing to the music one of these days, Mark. One of these days, we'll get Coach going. Hey, welcome to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Try Wendy's new Saucy Nugs today. As always, thanks for joining us. Rate, subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media. You can find us at 3X Option Show. Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Rob Stone here with you. We're gonna get to the bracket, right? Coming up in a moment. Who's our special guest this week?
Cam. Whoa, Cam. Guess who? Cam Skattebo.
Arizona State running back Cam Skattebo joins us on the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. It's an awesome conversation. You're going to love it. If you thought you loved him before, you're absolutely
it's one of the best
adoring him now.
One of the best we've ever had.
It's so great. It's so great. We're going to talk, though, right now about the first bid stealer in playoff history. We've been saying it all season because on any given Saturday in college football, something crazy, bonkers, chaotic, weird happens. And we're going to go to Charlotte, North Carolina, the ACC Championship game, Clemson versus SMU, and so many storylines to that one just on the national scene. But if you go back, remember, Clemson, they were losing to South Carolina, right? Out of conference game. So that's how they end the regular season. To get into the ACC Championship game, they needed Syracuse in upstate New York to upset Miami in the final week of the season. And guess what? The Orange took care of it. So Miami, up there in the top, 7 for a majority of the season, they are bounced. Clemson comes in. And SMU sitting there trying to get themselves in the college football playoff. What happens? A 56-yard field goal by a freshman as time expires. Boom. Dabo Swinney, Mark, and Clemson are back in the college football playoffs, and they're back not as like this mega powerhouse that we remember from the old Trevor Lawrence days or whatever. They are back, Mark, as a bid stealer.
A bid stealer, but I would beg to differ. They are the best team in the ACC, but they chose to schedule a tough out-of-conference schedule. They played 2 of the best teams in the CFP rankings. They played Georgia in week 1, which everyone thought Clemson was out of it. Like they were just canceling them off. Dabo doesn't hit the portal, this, that, just writing Clemson off. They continue to win their games. Then they play South Carolina and get a second loss. I forget who they got 2 of their losses from SEC non-conference scheduling. So if I'm Clemson, I never do that again, because if I don't have those 2 non-conference games, I'm probably a top 5 seed right now, and I don't need all that extra stuff. So then you have teams like Miami and SMU who didn't play nobody, they get in. But Clemson showed why they are the best team in the ACC. They pretty much dominated that game throughout the entirety of the game, and SMU had a big fourth quarter. But Dabo and Clemson, big kudos to them. They needed some help, but they did what they had to do to be able to get to the college football playoff. So they're in.
And they're in as the lowest seeded team in the bracket. They hold on to the number 12 seed. They take on Texas at number 5. Rhett Lashley, the SMU coach, and I know, Coach, you've been really impressed with SMU through the course of the season. I liked it when he found out that SMU made the playoffs, saying it's a galvanizing moment for our league. Reminded people of some of the challenges that some of these ACC teams have been through. Remember, Georgia Tech taking Georgia to 8 OTs in Athens just a couple weeks ago, winning records versus the Big Ten and Big 12 as a league. And then Dabo Swinney, I kind of like it when the conferences got everybody's back. Dabo Swinney, right after the win, saying, hey, that SMU team, that is a playoff-worthy team. And in
I'm sure he would say that after you just beat a team.
Absolutely. But he was stumping for them, right?
Hey,
to get in because he knew.
I'm scalded over here, Stoner, so just don't.
I know you are. We'll get to your wounds in a second, but Dabo and company, and the country really knew that SMU after that loss was right there on that cut line, and what was going to happen. And Dabo trying to protect his conference and fight the good fight, if you will, Coach.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I think we're at a defining moment in college football. and the SMU Alabama discussion, but then the more research you've done, and I can give insight to this because whenever I was hired at Ohio State, Florida, Utah, Bowling Green, one of the early conversations you have with your athletic director at a Bowling Green or at a Utah first, I'm going to talk about that, is let's talk about scheduling. When I first went to Bowling Green, I think we had LSU and some other, why would I put my team through that? At the end of the day, a college football coach is paid to win. In major college football now, you're paid to go to the playoffs, and that's it, problem work. That's it. Guys will lose their jobs if they don't go. Go ask Brian Kelly. Go ask some of these other coaches that just missed out on it.
Yeah.
You miss out twice, you're probably gone, at least at the Blue Bloods.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mark and Rob, I want to get your opinion because I'm blown away about this. The guy, Scott Dolson, you know what Scott Dolson is?
Tell me
if
about
I'm the
it.
president of Indiana
Bloomington
University, Scott Dolson is the athletic director. I call him in today, and I give him the biggest bonus he's ever had. Because you know why, Mark? His scheduling. He's scheduled Florida International, FIU, Western Illinois, and Charlotte.
Yep.
As a result, the Indiana Hoosiers played, they played one big boy this year. They actually, they beat the Wolverines, but the Wolverines were a shell of themselves. And they lost to Ohio State soundly, and they're in the playoffs.
Yes.
Could you imagine if he would have scheduled an SEC school?
They'd be out.
A bigger,
assuming they took the loss, of course, but yes.
Depending
Right.
on which SEC
Assuming they
team,
took the
probably. Yeah.
And then you have Ohio State played Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall. You're seeing, I think, if I'm the head coach, and I can't wait to hear you guys' opinions. If I'm the South Carolina, if I'm Clemson, my athletic director just cost me I'm probably a top 2 team in America.
Yeah.
If he would have played Ohio State's schedule, Indiana's schedule, but they didn't. They have a rival in South Carolina. They have to play them every year. But then they schedule Georgia. I guess the question is, and it kind of breaks my heart because I'm not a fan of that. I think our scheduling at Ohio State and Florida was always play a big dog.
Yep.
A top 10 team. You play a medium dog and you play a small dog.
Mm-hmm.
That was our scheduling philosophy. That's always been our scheduling philosophy.
So why was that the philososophy, Coach? Why did you want those 3 different levels of dogs?
Because back then it was BCS, and where
Yeah.
schedule mattered. You had to have some good wins. At least that was the mindset.
Yes.
And then just getting your team ready for the season because back then, Rob, it was all about winning your conference championship. What you did non-conference mattered, but it didn't matter that much. You wanted to galvanize, you wanted to play a big dog early in your season to find out what you had.
Yeah.
And then now, Rob, that's over.
So,
It's gone.
but why is that changed? Why don't you want to know what you've had?
Because it doesn't matter.
Because if
early
you
in the
lose,
season.
you get punished for it.
doesn't
Like
matter.
Clemson almost freaking didn't make the playoff because they played 2 big dogs.
I think
You know
we're
what
at a defining moment, and the CFP peoples, I don't think it's committee because their job's just to get them in. Whoever, and I imagine the coaches are going to have a say in this too. Why in the world, and I wrote this down here, why would you play a top 10, top 15 team? I don't have an answer other than a good
You
crowd
wouldn't,
and fans,
because
and it's right
you
for
wouldn't.
college football, but
Correct. But it's not right for your program. It's not right for your institution. But I
it's right
would.
for your, think this. I'm sorry to keep interrupting because I'm passionate about this. The head coach doesn't care about any of that. He's got a family. He's got to protect his players. He doesn't care about the guarantee money or the whether it's on Fox Big Noon or prime time and what's going to happen because we cover games. We're going to get stuck with some awful games here for the next few years because I think they're going to cancel them all. I think if I'm an AD and a head coach, I'm going to sit down and say, well, SMU's in, and so is Indiana. Why would we ever play Georgia? Why would we ever play? I think Ohio State's got Alabama and Texas coming in. Why?
Yeah.
I think it's great for the crowd, and I think it's great for college
It's
football.
great for college football, yeah.
But not for
Ohio
Ryan
State
Day's job.
opens up next year with Texas,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And I think after that, they got Alabama in 2 years.
Yeah. It's those home aways that they're doing.
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
the defining moment, man, I think this is, and I'm worried it's going to hurt college football.
But the thing was, in the ACC, typically with it being, a weaker conference, especially with Florida State being as bad as they were, you typically have to schedule those type of games to get the respect of your schedule. There really weren't getting ACC teams that were, didn't have a good strength of schedule into the college football playoff. But obviously, when it goes out to 12 teams, now you
Right.
add more people to the mix. But I mean, SMU, we talk about their strength of schedule. Yes, they haven't beat anybody that's ranked in the top 25 in the CFP. They're 0-2 against BYU and Clemson. The combined record of their opponents is like 58 and 63, under 500. They have like the 60th ranked schedule. Their best win was Duke. So why am I going to schedule a tough out of conference game when all I got to do is basically do that?
How about this, Mark?
Get in.
How about this? USC
and lose my ACC championship too, and lose it.
How about LSU plays USC on game? They don't have to play that game. They lose.
Yep.
And they end up having 4 losses. A&M lost to Notre Dame. Is that great for college football to A&M play Notre Dame? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah.
Well,
Why
for
would you
Notre
do
Dame, that's their win, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that certainly
Notre Dame's
enhanced their
independent.
resume.
They have to. No, Notre Dame really doesn't have to either. An undefeated Notre Dame. I'm really
Because of
I
their
wish
brand?
there was some. No,
An
I'm
undefeated
just-
Notre Dame because of their brand? No.
An
Yeah,
undefeated Notre
because-
Dame goes to the playoff.
Period.
Yeah.
Because why?
Because they're Notre
Dame.
Yeah.
And their brand. Yeah, I get. And yes, they play those collection of ACC schools.
There's
Coach,
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna plead that for the sake of non-conference and what fans and what players should be able to play inter conference rivalries and games, they have to come up with some kind of analytics metrics that you get rewarded. They're on paper to play that schedule. If not, you're going to see Wofford. Here's South Carolina's schedule: Old Dominion, Akron, Wofford. Now they did play Clemson. Penn State played Bowling Green State University in Kent and West Virginia.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall.
And they still had 2 losses. So if they schedule a big boy, like you said, they open the season with Texas next year, that's possibly 3 losses and not getting in at all.
Right.
So I don't know, but
my only pushback, Coach. Well, I got a couple pushbacks.
push back.
Yeah, I'm going to push. It's not a real strong push because I 100% understand your point. I would say, and you brought it up yourself, Coach, you want to know where your team stands, right? You want to figure things out before you get into conference play, not when you're in the middle of conference play.
I did.
Geez,
Not now.
Even not now. So
No.
So now you're going to figure it out in week 6 when you're on the road at, I don't know if you're Ohio State, at Illinois.
Yeah, but your
your
goal is not to win a conference championship anymore, Rob.
It's to get a bid into
it's
this
one
dance.
of them. It's one of them. But
It's one of your goals. It's one of your goals.
Yeah, you don't lose your job if you. It's one of your goals, but
You want to get to this
if
dance
you
right
make
here,
the playoff, you have to get to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Correct.
You want to make
Yes,
that
you want to get
tournament
to the
right
dance. But again,
This is like college basketball now. March Madness is. You ask college basketball, which is more important, winner conference championship, get to the dance. Let's go to the dance.
college basketball has become all about March Madness right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So is
they've
college
lost
football.
it, but they do give value to being the conference champion. Maybe not
Correct.
as much value as it's worth, but you're looking at the bracket right now.
Well,
The
look
reason
at
that
Oregon.
those
They're
4
a conference
teams
champ,
are on
and
the
they don't
right,
get
they're conference
rewarded for
champs.
it. Yeah,
They are
But look,
conference champs.
Say that
Look at
again,
Oregon.
Mark. Say that again.
Oregon is the #1 team in the country. They do not get rewarded for having the best record. Guess what they get? They either get Tennessee or Ohio State in the quarterfinals. Look at Boise. Look at Georgia at those matchups. Why doesn't Oregon have that type of path? They have probably the most challenging path to get to the semifinals to the national championship. And they
I think
had
Penn
the
State's
best.
got the easiest, right?
Yes. Look at SMU and then Boise. You win 2 games and you're in the semifinals.
I would actually argue Texas has the easiest path to the semifinals. They're
Clemson,
taking
Arizona
on
State?
technically the 2 lowest ranked teams
How'd that
that
happen?
made the playoffs in Clemson and
So
Arizona
Penn State and Texas have easier paths than the conference champions.
Yes.
But
and Oregon
but
beat.
they're playing a game. They have to play a game. They don't have that extra
Right.
week to
Right,
get
right.
healed and
But
rest
still,
up.
why
And they
isn't
don't
the
have to
number one-
battle. They're already there in the quarters.
Why isn't the #1 team, to be the #1 team, you have to be rewarded for that by having the most favorable seeding matchup. You know what I mean? And they have probably the toughest. They have the toughest route right now. They get either
Yeah.
Tennessee or Ohio State, which they already beat Ohio State. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, in Eugene. And
It
this
has
one
to
would
be
a
some like
neutral site,
reseeding
the
or
Rose
something.
Bowl.
They need to
So-
do something with the bracket.
I'm going to go on record one more time. On record. Why would you schedule a top 15 team? And if, Rob, you said to find out, gauge where your team's at, I think in the old days, yeah. I'm saying no now.
And is that across the board, Coach, or just or just like
No,
a
if I'm
pocket of
Boise
the blue
State,
bloods?
Look at Clemson at number 16, a bid stealer, Stoner. They're not even in the top 12 playoff rankings. Look,
Right.
16,
If
a bid stealer.
If I'm when I was at Utah, because we had to get schedule strength to get in there, but I'm not sure that's true anymore either. I mean, SMU's in.
Yeah.
Indiana's
They're
in.
Indiana's in.
Boise, first round bye.
I hate it. Sorry. I hate it. It bums me out. I get it. I understand
So
it. But as a college
the auto
football fan,
bid-
It destroys me.
I want
Rob.
to see these games. I want to see, like, I am downright excited about August, and it's Texas at Ohio State. And dang straight, we're going to be there, right?
Okay,
that
then,
excites
Rob,
me. That launches
think our-
college football.
I think our next guest should be Brian Kelly of LSU, and then Elko at A&M, and I'll let you
Yep.
ask him.
Yeah,
Say,
ask
tell
them
me
about those
about are you
schedules.
going to schedule Notre Dame again?
Yeah.
Your job is to get to the playoff, pal.
Yeah, I know.
I know it bothers me too. That's
I know.
why.
As
But
a-
there
as a
needs to be
fan-
some bracketology redone here.
So that's,
metrics, yeah.
I think that's one solution. I don't love like reseeding teams after the first round. I think the team should be seeded properly at the beginning. Right?
Yes.
You know, like any normal human being can look at this bracket as we're doing right now and saying, "Good Lord, why in the world is the Ohio State Tennessee winner
Going to Oregon.
slotted to take
Yeah.
on Oregon?" Right. So there needs to be a better conversation and value on teams' records and the team's opposition. So you talk about college basketball; they have this thing called the net, and it comes out every day. I'm not talking every week, every month, and a season. Every single day, the net changes because it's factoring in what you've done. Did you do it at home? Did you do it on the road? How good is that team? Have they been winning? But what was the margin of victory, which is another little sticky situation. But college basketball has figured it out. And now that college football is expanding and getting closer and closer to the numbers that March Madness presents, I think they need to start looking a little bit more at the college basketball model and how they do their bracket and how they do
All right,
their
real quick,
placements.
let's close this, but with this, how we started. Scott Dolson. Who is he, Mark?
The president of Indiana.
No, he's the AD.
Damn.
So he's going to have a phone call. Or no, he's going to go to the office. I can see the president right now calling him over and saying, "Congratulations, here's your
holiday
check
bonus."
Yeah, and you know what? God bless them, they did it. And
Yeah.
Indiana has never done that before, and they, but do they do it again?
And by
And
the way,
again-
Coach, what conference sent the most teams to the college
The Big
football
Ten.
bracket? The Big Ten sent 4 programs there: Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana, in order. The SEC
Do you see Penn
only
State's
getting
schedule?
3.
Here's the 3 Big Ten schools schedules. Ohio State, we went through it. Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Indiana, FIU, Western Illinois, and Charlotte. How about when you stare at this, you can't believe this. Penn State did play West Virginia at West Virginia, and that's
To open the season.
historically good game. And then they play 2 MAC schools, Bowling Green and Kent, where that's it's just apples and oranges. So, and I'm not disrespecting the MAC, I coach there, but that's 3 of the 4 teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
How about the fan base? You buy your tickets, your season tickets, and half your games are going to be against teams you're 40-point favorites. 40 points.
Yeah. There's going to be more and more of it.
I know.
Light it.
We are counting down the days to one of the greatest games of the year, the Army-Navy game presented by USAA. And this year marks the 125th meeting of Army and Navy, and both will be battling for the win and the chance to sing second.
As a proud presenter, USAA knows this game is so much more than football. It's a time for the country to come together and recognize the commitment, teamwork, and sacrifice our service members make for our country.
Founded by a group of military members over 100 years ago, USAA remains dedicated to serving the military community and their families with a wide range of financial products and services. Because they know you can't always guess the next play, but you can be ready for it.
So whether you're rooting for the Army Black Knights or the Navy Midshipmen, USAA is proud to join you in honoring and celebrating one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football.
Visit USAA.com to learn more. You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce, right, Mark? You've had the Wendy Nugs?
I've had
dipped in
them, and
sauce?
I love
All right.
them.
But, Mark, I ask you, have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs that I know you love, and you know what they turn them up to? They turn them up to 11, Mark.
Ooh, more than 10.
More than
Choose
10.
between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or If you're a real heat seeker, try Spicy Ghost Pepper, only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. There's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love.
Are you man enough to try the spicy ghost pepper, by the way? Do you think you could pull that off?
That's not for me. I'm the honey barbecue type guy.
Yeah, I can do the peppers. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and then go back and get a few more napkins and prepare to nug. Apparently, the word nug is a verb now. So, Mark, prepare to nug like you've never nugged before for a whole new way to nug. It's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Keep on nugging, America.
Nug City.
Let's look at the left side of this bracket real quick, guys, and home field advantage. Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. 3 of those sitting there in the Midwest, the East Coast.
The cold.
In the cold of late December, the 20th and the 21st are when these 4 games are scheduled. And ironically, if you look at the BetMGM odds right now, all 4 home teams are favored and with a decent little comfort zone as well. How much do you think that home field advantage, I think particularly for the quote unquote cold weather schools, because listen, it can get cold in Texas and in Austin, but we're not really forecasting that at the moment. But how much of an advantage do you think that is for the Ohio States, Penn States, Notre Dames of the world?
It's huge. Tennessee ain't used to going up there to that stuff we was in last week.
SMU's not.
SMU's not used to that, so you going to
Indiana is. I mean, it's an in-state game, right?
Is.
With Indiana and Notre Dame.
But now you're talking about going over to 100,000 plus in cold weather. Now what you gonna do? So that is a real home field advantage. And I seen where they only have to allocate 3,500 tickets to the away team.
Yeah,
so
and I think 1,500 have to be in the lower bowl, and then
so you can spread them out.
Band.
I'm gonna put 250 here, 250 there, 250 there. You get 3,500 team to go tickets to watch your team play.
It's home field advantage, man. That's what you fight for.
That's a true home field advantage. That's a true home field advantage, and I think it's a big advantage, a huge advantage, especially when you're up in Tennessee. Has to go to Columbus. SMU has to go to Happy Valley. Indiana playing cold, but they have to go to Notre Dame. So this is Go ahead.
Here's the reality of weather. Weather is a neutralizer. So if I've got racehorses, I'd watch that weather and I'd be heartbroken. One year we went up to Northwestern and played them when I was at Ohio State, and the grass was that long.
Yeah,
and it was a rainstorm, and we sloshed around, and it's an equalizer, and I sometimes wonder if I'm the head coach at Ohio State or Notre Dame, it depends what kind of team you got. If I got a racehorse team, I'm moving that thing to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Controlled environment. And racehorses want to be racehorses.
They want to run.
They don't want to be mudders.
Yeah, if I got
Nobody
a bully
wants to be a
team
mudder.
if I'm an underdog and I'm a bully team and I got kind of a rugged, tough, my 2012 team at Ohio State, I'd take him outside against anybody because they're just nasty, downhill. We didn't have great skill. We had good skill, not great skill.
Mm-hmm.
But by the later teams or that 14 team, no, I want to be in a dome. I want to let Michael Thomas be Michael Thomas.
Well, Marcus Freeman told us last week, like, oh no, we're staying in South Bend, right? We're not budging. James Franklin had this quote. He said, "We're praying for an actual whiteout with the weather as well." So he wants the mean, nasty weather when SMU comes to town. Another thing to keep in mind, and I touched on this briefly last week, is the students are on winter break. And a big part of the college football is the students and that home field advantage and that joy that they have. So many of these students are going to be back home and away. Notre Dame is actually keeping their dorms open an extra 24 hours for the students so they can stick around, do whatever it is so they can be there for this historical moment. December 20th, a home game in South Bend, Notre Dame hosting Indiana. It'll be interesting to see. Listen, these stadiums are going to be full, right? We'll figure it out somehow.
I
would like to
there's not going to be seats available.
No, but I would like to make sure that there's plenty of students running around there to bring that proper vitality, if you will.
I mean, at the end of the day, Stoner, I mean, this is just amazing. Like, if you're college football, like this is what we've been looking forward to. We can nitpick about who got in and who didn't. You had your chance, you had your opportunities, but at the end of the day, this bracket is awesome. This bracket's amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
It's awesome. Are you sure? Because I don't see Alabama anywhere in that.
Hey, man, I'm hurt. I'm scalded. I think it wasn't the right decision, especially with an ACC team that is in a weak conference, quite frankly. They're in a weak conference. And guess what? Nobody's complaining about the Big 12 runner-up not getting punished. You get punished for losing. You get punished for losing a weak conference championship game. Yes, you do. When you don't get punished for a Big 10 championship game when it's number 1 versus number 3. You don't get punished for an SEC championship game when it's number 2 versus number 5. When you play the 8th team versus the 17th team and you lose, you get punished for it. Nobody's complaining about the Big 12 and they second runner-up. You know what I mean? So if you play in a weak conference, you got to win your conference. And if not, you get booted.
Hey, Rob, I want to make sure we hit this. I see this, and it's
you get booted, Coach.
How do you keep a team focused when you? This is really interesting because I actually talked to one of the schools. I won't give the name of the coach, but he called me last night and said, "Give me some the wisdom or some experience that you had when you had to keep a team focused, get ready for a game 3-4 weeks down the road." So I remember in 2006, the first experience I had getting ready for a national championship game. Lou Holtz is my mentor, and we had about a 3-4 week window, which some of these schools are going to have. And his advice, I never forget it as long as I live. And he said 2 things. He said, remember, the game doesn't start until January, I think it was January 8th. The foot does not hit the ball. Don't let these players play the game in their minds. And never use the words national championship. Never. Focus on moving, getting first downs, and stopping people, because you're going to hear all that. And that's number 1. Never use those 2 words. Stay focused on what's important and win a game. Number 2, the players, and this is really interesting, Mark. And I did this. The players in a routine right now. It's called game week. For 13 weeks, their bodies and their minds are trained to take a day off Monday, Tuesday full practice, Wednesday probably uppers, Thursday run through scripts, Friday off, Saturday you play your game. And he said, keep your players in routine. I did that exactly, and I told this coach to do that. So make sure you stay in a routine. You start screwing up routines, you know what happens? Players start thinking differently.
Yeah.
And coaches start thinking differently. So keep
Creatures
your routine. So if I'm going right now, Mark, I'm going, we're going to practice like it's a game. Now it's going to be back way off.
Yeah.
You got to get guys healthy, but we're going to keep them, that game routine going down. And then once you get into game week, you're still in a routine.
Yeah.
I just think players, especially players, they believe in routine, especially if the routine works.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Mark?
100%. You got to stay routine. We're creatures of habit. So we've been doing this same thing over and over again. We've been successful doing it. So you want to keep your team in a rhythm, and that's by staying on schedule. That's by staying in your routine. And I remember when we had to get ready for national championship, I think the first week or something, Coach Saban had us back in training camp practice. You know what I mean? So we was getting after it, hitting, thumping. So, but then he backed off on us a little bit, but we did have those good on good periods where we went against each other. And but at the end of the day, like you said, Coach, you got to stay in a rhythm. You got to stay in a routine, especially when it's been successful for you.
It's interesting because, my brain is saying let's rest, let's heal. And I know you're incorporating that in, Coach, but
sure,
maybe not to the extent that I am.
You still got a game to go play.
Yeah, and
it's weeks away.
I got to make sure I clarify that is that it's not always the ones-on-one. As you got to rest them, but we're still going out there. And maybe it's the 2s get most of the reps. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you this: I actually took our guys to our Friday dinner because I wanted again the players to stay. They're in a routine. We had Friday pregame meal, and I just wanted our players to stay in that routine. And a lot of the guys told me that really helped them stay engaged. And
I remember Saban had us working. I remember we was getting after it, dog. That's what I remember.
Well, because he had national championship on his mind, he wasn't going to tell you that.
Yeah,
he wasn't going to say those
we
words.
Did too.
He had it.
We did
he had
too.
it on his brain, man. He had it on his brain.
Did.
Hey, do you know who's coming up next on the triple option presented by Wendy's?
Man.
Guess who?
Guess who?
Who, Coach?
Okay, I'm not going to say it like you say it. Skatte-who.
Oh man, Coach, you got to sell that way better.
Come on,
Skatte-who.
Come on, man.
There we go.
I'll tell you what.
Whoa,
I'm a huge fan.
Cam.
I'm a huge fan of that guy, man.
Cam Skattebo from Arizona State joins us next on the triple option. The Viking, that's right. You'll learn about that next.
Light it.
Well, as you all know by now, we have teamed up with our great friends at BetMGM this season, and we're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks. We'll also have special offers for our listeners each week. Mark, you're listening, right? You're listening to this?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Pay attention. All right, so if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, we urge you to use the bonus code OPTION Or go to betmgm.com/option and you will get up to $1,500 first bet offer, Mark, on your first wager with BetMGM. We're talking $1,500, Mark.
$1,500. But here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code OPTION. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code OPTION when you sign up or go to betmgm.com/option.
It's all about the option, Mark.
It's all about the option, especially the triple option.
See betmgm.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369 New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Urban, Mark, Rob. And right now we are joined by our college football man crush, the beast of the Big 12, Arizona State stud running back, Cam. Say it, Mark, because you say it better than I say it.
Cam! Cam! Whoa, Cam! Guess who, Stone?
Cam Skattebo!
Skattebo!
Skatte-who, baby.
Guess who?
Hey, Cam,
Skatte-who.
real quick, Cam, have you watched our show and heard Ingram talk about you? If not,
Absolutely.
we're gonna make you a highlight tape. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, man.
It's all of
I remember
us, man.
last
Big
year.
dude.
Last year was the first time I heard him, and I was like, "All right, here we go."
Hey,
But you're a weekly Big Noon guy, so congrats.
Awesome.
All of our
weekly-
meetings, Cam, do
weekly
come up.
staple. Weekly
Whenever there's
staple
an
in the Big
Arizona
Noon.
State
Appreciate it.
highlight, get Cam Skattebo in it so we can scream and yell your name, man. 'cause
We
it's
be
fun to
fighting.
see
Who's going to talk Arizona State this week?
Right,
You
right,
know
we're
why they
fighting
going to
for
win? It's because of Skattebo. Yes, sir.
It's funny because it's true. Hey, take us back to that moment in the Big 12 championship game where you decided to strike a certain pose that Mark is certainly familiar with, Cam.
Uh-huh.
It's been in the talks about Heisman and everything, and obviously there's two other contenders that I think are really good and I deserve the award. But I felt like I've been slept on for a long time, and the fact that I'm rushing the way I'm rushing and also catching the ball the way I'm catching the ball, I mean, the most utilized back, I guess, in the Power 4 football, and I'm doing it at the highest level possible. So, why should I not be in that conversation?
Facts. Over 2,000 scrimmage yards, over 1,500 rushing, over 500 receiving. The man is toting the rock. The man is blocking. The man is breaking tackles. He's coming out the backfield, catching the ball. He's motivating people in the locker room. Straight dog, alpha dog, coach. Tell us, man, you told us nobody respects the fact that I'm the best running back in the country. What made you, what about the doubters kind of fueled you and your team to be Big 12 champs and essentially have a first-round bye in the CFP?
Yeah, I mean, it just starts with all the countless hours of work we put in the summer. And a year ago from now, last summer, we didn't have that same mindset, and we also didn't have the same guys on our team. And then, a lot of guys stepped up and took the role of understanding what it takes to get to that level. We have guys on the team that have been to the playoffs, even in the 4-man bracket. We have guys that played on the highest teams in the country, and they might not have played, but they were there and they seen how you do it and see how the work to what the work to put in takes to get there.
Yeah.
And we stepped up, and it's just been a grind day in and day out since last spring ball. This last spring ball, we flipped the switch and was like, we got to figure this out, because that there's no last year of college football for most of our seniors. So
Right.
we picked it up this year, and we just, we put in the work every week and every day, and we just grinded it out, and here we are.
Mhm.
Hey, Cam, you guys kind of flew under the radar this year, but not on Big Noon because of Mark Ingram. But your coach Dillingham, and I saw some of the things he said. To me, he seems like a real, he just says what's on his heart. But what did he change? I mean, Arizona State, I've always thought was a sleeping giant, but they've been really, a non-factor. Now they're a major factor. What did he change? And tell me about the culture he brought to Arizona State.
Yeah, bringing in a guy that's from here, a guy that has coached for a long time, even though he's only 33 years old, he has a lot of experience in the game. He's been doing it since he was 16 years old, and the one place he wanted to coach was Arizona State. And I think no disrespect to any other coach that ever been here, but I don't think they had that fuel underneath them like he does. The fact that he wants to see his hometown school win, and everything with this coach Dillingham, everything you see is what he is. And I think that's what keeps it real between all the players, and everybody understands that they could be true to themselves and that they can speak themselves when the truth needs to be told to other players, to keep it real, because he keeps it real with all of us. So I think that plays a big factor in it, because he does a good job at keeping it real with everybody.
Your dad
Cam,
coached you
go ahead,
for a
sorry.
long time, Cam. And what I love about you, besides your running style, is in college as well, you've punted, you've been QB, right?
Man's
You've
an
kind of
athlete.
been wherever your dad needs you. So how did you end up at Arizona State? Because I know you began your career, you're from the Sacramento area, and you began your career at Sacramento State. So who was recruiting you back then in high school? Was it William and Mary in Sacramento State and FCS school? Anybody else?
Yeah, so I received a text from William and Mary my sophomore year. I think they kind of knew they weren't going to get me at some point, because the coach that was there is now UNLV. And he just sent me a text on Twitter and said, "You have an offer from us." Didn't really get recruited. Just instantly texted that. I never really thought to respond, and then Coach Taylor over at Sac State, he started getting real interested. And the running back coach at the time was James Montgomery. And they sat me down and we talked, and then I went out to one of their 7-on-7 camps, and I caught the ball. I didn't drop the ball. And
Yeah.
Coach Taylor was like, "Yeah, I want this kid on my football team."
Yeah.
So they offered me right after the camp, and I took a visit there, and then my senior year I actually got hurt. So I had an AC sprain in my shoulder. My senior year, about 4 games in. And that's kind of when the recruiting stopped. And so me and my pop sat down and was like, "Yeah, I think it's time to commit to Sac State. We want to make sure we get
Wow.
somewhere that's paid for,
Mhm.
and not let nobody get proven wrong." So
Right.
Coach Taylor took that chance on me, even though knowing I was hurt and stuff. So it was cool to be in that situation. But I wouldn't say anybody else was recruiting me at the time. There's coaches that would come to the school, and UCLA coaches and Hawaii, and they all just looked at me and said I was too small. So
Mhm.
I just continued to push.
Well, man, you said that you barely got recruited, but now you're one of the best backs in the country. Probably have arguably the best season of any player in the country. So, man, shout out to you for the work, the commitment, the dedication. But
Thank you.
so you go to Arizona State from Sacramento State. Last year, when Coach Dillingham comes in, you were basically the leader of that team still, one of the best backs in the country still. What made you, in an era where people are transferring, leaving, going in the portal, what made you stay at Arizona State and continue when I'm sure you had other people reaching out to you and offering you money or whatnot, whatever they do in this day and age? But what made you stay in Tempe?
Yeah, after the season, me and Coach Dillingham sat down, and he told me straight up. He kept it real. He was like, "Look, you're not a Sunday guy right now. If you think about it and entering the draft, it's not your best decision." He's like, "You got more work to put in. You got to become a better teammate." And he just kept it real
Mm,
from the jump. And
right.
I noticed that. That's why I ended up going to ASU. And then sitting down in that meeting, and him like, "You're not a Sunday guy, but you can put in the work to become a Sunday guy." I think that really hit me, and understanding that going somewhere else, I'm just gonna have to start over again. And I'm not. That's
Yeah.
not who I am. Only reason I transferred was because my head coach left, and
Yeah.
that's who gave me the shot to be at Sac State. So once he left, I knew like, okay, here's the opportunity to take my talent to the higher level.
Right.
And then committing to ASU, I knew I was gonna be here no matter what until I was gone. And I made that promise to myself. I made that promise to the coaches when I got here. And I'm gonna stick true to that. And he's testing me every day to keep pushing and work to be a Sunday guy.
Hey man, I took a visit out there to Tempe, man, Arizona State. I know the campus is lit right now. Y'all going to the playoff. I know it's jumping out there in Tempe right now.
Yeah, it's been fun for sure. The Valley's being activated.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Cam, I got to coach Zeke, J.K. Dobbins, and Carlos, some great backs, and I would always have them come in early in the week, and I'd flip them a marker, and I'd say, all right, man, give me your best runs. So if I'm doing that right now, tell me your 3 top, what runs do you love? If it's called, you light up.
Like, are we talking like
power, gap, counter, whatever?
Yeah.
What's your stretch?
Yeah, I love the power. I love the power.
That's
I
a
grew
real
up in the
back.
Power I.
That's a real running back
I
there.
grew up in the power I, so I love power.
So you're a downhill dude, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
Let me follow that puller. Give me the pullers.
Between the tackles, you got 5 yards at least. And but so I love the power. That's just what I've known my whole life. Lining up 8 yards behind the quarterback.
Wow.
Getting the rock from the backfield.
All right, 1 power. 2.
Number 2, I've been learning to be a lot more patient. This last game, if you guys are watching, that counter has been hitting a lot better for me. Just the fact that I've been learning how to be more patient.
Yep.
And then number 3 is just straight inside zone, man on man.
I love it.
Double team to the backer, like figure out where you're going.
Guess who?
If you set it up,
Skatte-who!
if you set it up right, you're gonna have a hole. So.
This guy fires me up, Mark.
Right? Yeah, me too. And I love all 3 of them runs like that.
And by the way, what is a Skatte-who? There's not a lot of Skatte-whos out there. What is a Skatte-who?
Yeah, so Skatte-who is my last name, my father's name. His family's originated in Norway. So we're Norwegian.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. Viking.
So, yep. So that's I got a little Viking tattoo on my arm.
Oh.
Do you?
Not many people see it.
Note to Minnesota.
But yeah, they back in the day they moved to Wisconsin, and then whoever my father's family moved to California, and there's not very many that I know in California, but there's some family that will reach out here and there from Norway and
Really?
and
Good
Wisconsin.
for you, man.
So
Hey, man, I bet a Skatte-who family reunion is a lot of fun. Everybody just yell Skatte-who at each other because that's all I'd be doing. I love that last name. It's the greatest last name in college football. All right, so we found this clip the other day, Cam. We're going to roll it right now, and I want you to take us through it. And through the course of it, I guarantee you Mark and Urban are going to be screaming and yelling, and your name is probably going to be barked out about 5 times. So we're going back to high school here in this clip. Break it down for us, Cam.
Dotting that I.
I mean, this shows you right here the power I right here.
Get off me. Get off me.
This just shows, I don't like being tackled. I hate it. It drives me insane
Get
just
off
to be
me.
on the floor.
Coach, look at it. Where's he at?
Still going.
Holy cow.
That is so good.
And you're not
Skatte-who. Skatte-who.
That was the first drive of the state championship in high school, my junior year.
First drive?
Wow.
First drive, yeah.
That's
when I still had all the energy.
Yeah. Who were the running
Sac
backs?
State was your offer?
Sac State
Right?
I had 3,500 yards and 42 touchdowns, and I had 1.5 offers.
All right, I wasn't coaching them. You can't blame me. Wow.
Yeah.
Someone missed on you, pal.
Oof, big time. Who did you emulate? Who did you watch when you were growing up? Who did you want to kind of be like on the football field?
My older brother,
Yeah. He played
Straight
at
up.
Bowling Green, right?
correct. He played in JUCO for 2 years. And I always made a joke, you're a JUCO kid, you're a JUCO kid. Like, it's always a joke between me and him. It'll forever be a joke between me and him. But, he's got all the love for me now. But just growing up, I didn't really watch football. We would watch the Niners on Sundays, and that's about it. College football wasn't a thing in our family. We didn't really watch it too often. It was just my dad pushing me every day as a youngin', making sure I'm in the right steps. So, watching film, even with him, I was 9 years old. We were sitting down. He's screaming at me on the couch while we're watching our little VCR tapes, our little little tiny CDs.
Yeah.
We plug those in and watch them. And, just watching my brother play and the players he had on his team, it just made me want to be better.
So, how are you guys preparing for either Texas or Clemson to make sure y'all are sharp and ready to roll when Y'all hit the college football playoff here in about, 3 weeks now? What are y'all
Yes,
doing
sir.
to make sure y'all staying locked in and ready to roll?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is Coach Dillingham's emphasis has been to rest up and get healthy.
Yeah.
We got some guys with some bruises and bumps here, but
Mhm.
that's been the focus for this week, is making sure that we can get
Yeah.
healthy.
Earned it.
And then the next 2 weeks, obviously we're gonna find out who we play. I think in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then once we figure that out, I'm sure they're behind the scenes right now trying to work on both teams, get a base for both of them just to see. Never know who's gonna win that game. So
Right.
it's the playoffs now, so it's different. But
Texas or Clemson, one of them.
yeah, so I think I'm pretty sure they're prepared for both at the moment, because that staff grinds. They as soon as that game ends, they're already in the office that night. Dillingham, we got home from a trip at 2 a.m. one time, and Coach Dillingham was the only one walking towards the office. I'm like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to watch film for next week." So
Ooh.
they're dialed in for sure.
Hey, it's earned. It ain't given.
Hey,
It's earned.
Cam, I'm sitting there looking at you, and obviously because of Mark and just the player you are. So you're going to go to the Heisman, and then you go to the NFL, and then after the NFL, you sound like a coach. Any thought?
Yeah, I never thought. I always told myself I'll never be a coach because I don't ever want to deal with any of these kids. I wouldn't want to dealt with myself. But it just shows, like last night we had our banquet, and being under Coach Aguano, it just shows like the fact that how much you could change a kid's life. He's
Mhm.
changed my life. So, and also my coach from Sacramento State, he changed me from being in high school to being where I'm at now, to then going to a Coach Aguano. And I think I can make that change in people's lives and help them understand the game. Also, not only being a better person, but being a good coach as well.
Yeah.
They say the two most famous jerseys on the campus these days is Tillman and Skatte-who.
Skatte-who.
What is
I
it
want
like
me a
seeing
Skatte-who.
these? I do too. What is it like seeing all these Skatte-who jerseys running around Tempe and the greater Phoenix area lately?
It's awesome because I got a little bit of my own little fame here in Tempe. It's cool because I never thought this would be like this. But the fact that I have that support with students that probably don't even watch the games, they just want a jersey because they see a clip on TikTok or something. And it's cool to be in that situation and understand like where I'm at, and the biggest part is don't mess it up. You know what I mean? And that's the big part.
At
You
what
be
point in the-
Nah.
TikToking too?
I just
Stay
stream
away
on
from
Twitch.
that.
That's it.
Okay.
Hey, at what point in a run do you start seeking contact?
Immediately.
I mean, as soon as I understand I'm in the positives of yardage, and then obviously if I'm being tackled in the backfield, which I don't like happening at all, I try my best to get back to the line of scrimmage. But as soon as I get through the line, it's like who's in the way to get to the end zone,
Yeah.
What's your favorite run that you've had either this season or throughout your career? It could be Sac State, it could be Arizona State, it could be high school. What's your favorite run ever in your career?
So I'll go. My number one run is obviously that state championship run.
Okay.
That kind of put my name on the map a little more than most. But the USC rail route I caught last year, because we still had a chance to win that game. We thought we were going to win that game. That was one of my favorites. And then this year, that Utah run that I scored on to kind of seal the game was probably one of my top ones as well. So there's three that are really close, and the pickings.
Real quick, Cam, tell me your leg drive. I mean, the power you have. Tell me your bench, your what squat.
So right now I'm 2 shoulders don't feel too good. So
you lighten up a little bit on the squat.
Running behind them pads.
But is your strength,
the
your
squat's
legs
still there? But I mean that's what I've been blessed with, is my power it comes through my whole body. I don't really have a specific like thing that overweighs another. Like my arms are just as strong as my legs. My back is just as strong as my hamstrings. So everything's kind of evened out pretty. I mean, my biggest lift is power clean. 375 on power clean is my biggest.
That's heavy.
You play like that.
Bench is
that
cool.
Explosive. That was my best lift too. Power clean. Not 375 though.
The full body the full body weights is what I'm
Stone,
with.
can you believe we get Mark Ingram talking to Skatte-who? This is like
awesome.
a dream come true.
This
man.
is legendary.
We've been trying to do this
Oh,
since
man.
we started this podcast.
You guys got to
This
meet
might be
Mark.
my
You
favorite
gotta-
one so
Mark,
far.
you got to meet this dude.
Cam Skattebo, everybody, man.
Guess
a dream
who?
come true for Team Triple Option and
Skattebo!
Big Noon kickoff. Hey, Cam, best of luck. Congratulations on that 4 seed in the college football playoffs. Enjoy the downtime, getting better, getting stronger. Take care of those shoulders, and then just keep running over cats, man. Just keep running over humans. We love it, man.
Thank
Cam
you.
Skattebo, thank you, man.
Keep doing your thing, boy. We rooting for you over here, dog.
Thank you very much. It means a lot
sir.
coming from you guys.
The Triple Option presented by Wendy's returns. Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Rob Stone back here with you. So our 12-team field is set. What's next for all those other programs in college football? Yep, you guessed it, the transfer portal. As of Monday at midnight Eastern, guys, 522 FBS players had
Shut up.
already put themselves in the portal. That number is probably going to get close to doubling
Stone,
by Monday
shut
evening,
up.
Tuesday. I'm not
How
shutting
many?
up because I'm not done. Hold on. If past cycles are any indication, listen, Mark, last year, 530 entrants in day one of the winter cycle last year. We're already at 522. That's your saucy nug of the week. Try some at your nearest Wendy's. Now I will shut up
What?
and talk about the transfer portal, man. It's insane. That is a huge number
You know
of
what's going
dudes.
on right now, Mark? There's teams in the playoff that I talked to 2
Players
coaches.
are going in and leaving.
They're walking
Say
in
that
their-
again,
they're walking
Coach.
in the
Say that
coach's
again.
office, and the coaches
Tell
they're
them again,
fighting
Coach.
for their
Start over.
lives.
Tell them again, Coach.
Yeah.
Tell them again.
There's players right now walking in with their agent representation and or that third uncle. And they're walking in. Remember the third uncle is. That guy should
Love the
be there.
third uncle.
He should not be in
Yeah.
that conversation, but he's there. Mark, you know I'm talking. You've seen that guy. Like,
I
who's
know
that
the
guy?
third uncle.
Why is that guy here?
I know your uncle, and we know your uncle,
The
Mark.
third uncle has his own personal motives.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
So he's walking in right now, Mark, and they're fighting for their lives. And they say, okay, I'm leaving, or I need this, I need this, I need this. That's going on as we speak.
Wow.
They're still playing, not in just a bowl game. They are
yeah, while
playing
the
for
teams
the
are in the
national
CFP,
championship, still alive in the college football playoffs. And you know, in the locker rooms, coaches are having to re-recruit their own players. That's going on in Columbus with Ryan Day right now.
Yeah,
Coach.
Devin Brown, the backup quarterback, I saw, I don't know if he's staying or not. I think I heard he's staying through, which I don't understand that either, but he's transferring, he's leaving. So that tells you what's the mindset if your starting quarterback breaks a shoestring, or dislocates a finger and he's got to come out for a few plays. There's a guy that's in process maybe of taking visits, looking at other schools. So it's, as we speak, Mark, I'm going to say it real slow. There's agents and third uncles. You know what the third uncle is, right?
Yes.
He's the guy that should not be in that conversation, but he's there. I've dealt with those guys. And they're demanding and asking for this, this, and this, probably playing time and money. And the head coach and his staff was just trying to find a way to get a first down and stop the opponent in the college football playoff.
How about this? Why is the transfer portal open right now?
I don't
And
know.
I understand that there's a lot of programs where their season is quote unquote done.
It's
right?
because the
You know,
academic calendar, Rob.
I
I've asked
understand,
that
but
question.
It's awful. It's
It's
an
awful.
awful.
But there's
time
like
to-
two
for
windows,
players and
like, right?
coaches.
There's like 2 transfer portal windows. Like,
Yeah, one
right?
now
Or
and then
no?
one in the spring. So
Yeah.
It just
the
feels like
reason
the
they gotta
timing
do
could be a
now-
little bit
I
better.
asked that question, Rob. The reason they're doing now is because
Yep.
classes start in January.
And certainly these kids are doing this because they're very worried about their academics, right?
I'll let Mark handle that one.
hey man, hey shoot, they just bailing, they jumping ship immediately.
Yeah, man. If you can leave that fast, you can land
Immediately.
on your feet that fast somewhere else too, right, man?
Yep, yep.
Push that back. Get it
And
into the
yes,
new
there
year.
is certain situations that it does benefit players to hit the
100%.
portal and leave.
Sure, Kyle
But
McCord.
coach, we always talk about it. How many people are on the other side of it? How many people are in the transfer portal end up being better from it? Yes, there is special.
Cam Skattebo. Cam
Yes,
Skattebo was better
Skattebo.
because of it, right?
But for every Cam Skattebo, every Cam Ward, there is probably 20 more who won't have that type of success.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Right.
I don't know the stats. I don't know the numbers, but we need those, huh, Coach?
We do, and
We
I've
need
asked.
those numbers.
It's just it doesn't garner much publicity because the Kyle McCords, Skattebos, the guys that have benefited from it, dominate the headlines. But you're right. There's a lot of people who get hurt. A lot of people end up without scholarships.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And then there's programs out there that have just major indecision wrapped around them. Like, think about what's going on in Chapel Hill right now, right? Mac Brown is out. There's these conversations still going on with Bill Belichick. The transfer portal is open. right? So those players in North Carolina are like, I don't know, maybe I do want to stick around for Coach Belichick if he takes over in Chapel Hill. Maybe I don't, but I don't know who's coming. And also, if you're North Carolina, you definitely need some new cats, right? So who's the dude? Who's the dude pulling the strings for the portal right
now? What's the
now?
rule there? Like, because if you don't have a coach, they could poach off of your roster, but you can't actively recruit out of the portal at that time.
Well, there are no recruiters.
Something like that.
There's no recruiters.
It's a mess
Until they get hired.
Because that's what happened to Alabama last year. You know, after they lost in that semifinal round, Coach Saban retired. They were getting people poached for like however long, and then we couldn't go in the portal and get somebody to even like until Coach DeBoer got. I don't know, some weird rule. I don't know.
Well, it's another thing that needs to get sorted out. We've got a lot of work in the offseason, guys. We've got to figure out playoff seeding, make it better. We've got to figure out the transfer portal. We got stuff to figure out, but
no, we don't.
We've got. We can just sit here and fill, Coach.
We can just sit here and criticize
these problems. Yeah, we're going to
just sit here and criticize.
I got to get my handicap down.
Yeah, we're good at asking questions, not so much solving them. All right, time now for Pick Six, brought to you by BetMGM. Place your money line, prep, parlay, and same-game parlay bets at BetMGM. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly. All right, so we're not going to have 6 games to pick this week, but we are going to talk. No, we are going to talk about college football. The dog gets a week off. We're going to talk college football championship odds, brought to you by BetMGM.
Hey, Stoney, before you do all that, I'm 2 for 2 in my last 2 weeks on the dog of the week.
Oh.
I don't want to, what do I know?
Somebody needs to recognize it.
But I'm 2 for 2, and ain't nobody showing the boy no love.
All right. Sorry about that, Mark. That was Coach's job this week. Coach,
South Carolina over
failed
Clemson,
us, Coach.
And then Georgia over Texas. Your boy's still going crazy.
By the way, Georgia over Texas in Atlanta. That's not an upset in this guy's book.
They were the underdog.
I know, but
Georgia,
Vegas had that wrong.
You won money. And send me some tequila.
Backup quarterback.
If you bet Georgia if you bet South Carolina and Georgia the past 2 weeks, send me my cut. Send me my cut.
You're welcome, brother. All right, again, from BetMGM, the championship odds. This is as of Monday. Your favorites, Oregon, plus 325, followed by Georgia, plus 350, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State. And then things start to drop a little bit. Notre Dame at plus 1,200, Tennessee down at plus 2,500, SMU, Clemson, Arizona State, and then no love for our Hoosiers, our Hoosiers and our Broncos, both at plus 5,000. By the way, great trip we had to Boise State to see Boise State win the Mountain West Championship game Friday night, chilly conditions, and Boise State sitting there as the number 3 overall seed. So, Coach, you look at this one. I know Oregon is the betting favorite. Are they your favorite as well?
They are. I think they're the fastest team in the country. They look like they lost a little gas in the second half against Penn State, but when they're on all cylinders, they're the best team in the country. They're the best. I think they're the most balanced team, offense, defensively, right now, and they're playing at a high level. And that's my favorite. My dog, which I'm staring at Ohio State and Texas. That's still 2 of the best rosters in college football. That maybe time will tell. Ohio State, Coach Day and that staff got a rebound from that excruciating loss against the Wolverines, and then Texas, the way they lost against Georgia. So to me, that's going to be. I have Oregon, and then I know I got to pick one dog, and it's Texas or Ohio State, and maybe next week I'll pick one.
Mark, who do you see as your favorite?
I mean, the first 4 there are the ones that have the shot. Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State. Those are the ones that have the shot to win it all.
And only 2 of them have buys, by the way, which is interesting.
I'm going to go Georgia. I just feel like Kirby Smart, man, I just have this belief in him. I played with him. He was my defensive coordinator when I was at Alabama. Just how he prepares his team for big games, for big moments. They won 3 of the last 4 national championships, no? Like, they didn't win it last year because Michigan won it, but they won the 2 before that. And they got punished for losing in the SEC Championship game, even though they were probably one of the best teams in the country. So I'm going to go with Georgia, man, even though we don't know what's going on with Carson Beck.
That's a big one.
We don't know, but, the backup came in and he did his thing, helped them go to the victory.
How about that hit he took on that run?
He ate it.
Oh, I thought he blew out knees looking at it.
Man,
how he bent
everything.
back.
But man, what a tough dude, right? Get back
Yeah.
in and lead them to finish the victory. So I just have this belief in Georgia, man. Even though they've been struggling all year long, they're in the dance. They get a bye week, and I think Kirby's gonna have that team ready to play. So I'm gonna go Georgia. And then if you want to go to the right side of the column sheet, SMU. I hope you guys get killed. Clemson. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I'm gonna go with Tennessee on the right side. I'm gonna go with Tennessee because they play defense and they run the football. And what does those two things do, Coach? They travel.
That's it.
A run game and a defense, they travel. And so I'm gonna go with Tennessee in the right hand. If you want to just throw a smooth 100 on there for 2,500, you want to throw 100 on there and make 2,500. Bet MGM style times the aura. You know, just go ahead. Just go ahead.
I think it's easy to fall into it's not even a trap. You know, Oregon clearly has deserved that number one ranking for all of the playoff rankings. They're the only unbeaten team left. I don't know. I just feel like there's something out there. Like the Ohio State-Tennessee survivor is going to give Oregon a hell of a game in the quarterfinals at the Rose Bowl, by the way. Isn't it kind of cool, Coach, that if Ohio State survives Tennessee, it is proper Rose Bowl type conditions with a Pac-12 team? I know Oregon is in the Big Ten now, but an Oregon-Ohio State feels kind of right in the Rose Bowl as well. If I'm going for an underdog, I like the Tennessee shout-out, Mark. How about Penn State? Penn State home to SMU.
Are they really underdogs?
Well, that's my point. They're
underdog
underdogs
has
according
to go,
to this.
We have
right?
to go we have to go into the 4-digit range for underdog.
Oh, we do? Shoot. All right. Well, then I'm not feeling so good about it. I was all proud of my Penn State pick,
keep
right?
going, keep going.
They get through SMU, then they have Boise State in the quarterfinals. They get to the semis. You know,
I don't make the rules, starter.
They
go with Penn State.
Really
go
tough.
with Penn
I know.
State.
Well, it's like the college football play. I don't know. Somebody's making the rules. We don't know who's doing it, but somebody's making the rules. So while you're over there and you're getting that seed. All right. So, but if I have to go big, oh man, if I have to go big, like I think Indiana's got a shot to upset Notre Dame. I really do. But we're talking like to really win it
to
all.
Win it all, Rob?
To win it. No.
It says college football playoff odds to win it all.
I know.
It doesn't say to win one game.
I know. I don't. I'm not a big. I guess
that is
SMU.
the rule.
No, you know what? Forget it. I'm riding the Skatte-who train. Arizona State and Cam Skattebo going to win it all, my friend. How about that? You like that? That's throwing myself out there.
Let's go.
Oh,
Skattebo.
let's go. Skatte-who, baby. Skatte-who. Follow, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. Don't forget, submit those questions. We'll answer some comments. Remember, a bonus show coming up later this week. We're out in our nation's capital live, the triple option ahead of Army and Navy on Friday. As always, huge thanks to our sponsors, Wendy's, BetMGM, and USAA. Enjoy the week, everyone.